following contains adult language and poorly impersonated celebrity voices and parodies. Listener discretion is advised.
Eyebrows good. What's up, everyone?
You just did it too.
Welcome to the Devil You Know. Everyone's
Great
slicking
minds.
our eyebrows.
Yeah.
How's everyone doing today?
I had to get them trimmed.
Okay.
I look like a fucking wizard. I was like, what?
I trim mine every now and then. I try and keep them so that I can, do my little horns every now and then. But
I'm getting grays in mine. It's really weird.
That's aging, Adam. That's that's what happens. It's I blame Dax.
old. We're stressed. Book agents or book guests for our show. It was kind of aging you, I guess.
Who are we staring at, Adam?
Today we have Citizen of the Infernal Empire. He's a police officer for the UK Metropolitan Police Department. He is a fellow member of the KISS Army.
Yes.
He's a guest on Metal Breakfast Radio with David Ingram.
Nice.
You might know him from there. And he writes a metal review on Ave Noctum. Please welcome Citizen of the Infernal Empire, Mark Eve, to the show.
Yeah.
From all the way across the pond.
What's up, man?
What's it like? It's like bear o'clock over there, isn't it?
It's
It's
2
hotter
o'clock
than
in the
hell.
morning. I've already had a couple of hours kit.
Man.
So I guess I'm on my first beer of the day, which ain't a bad.
Is it cold gin time?
Yeah. Cool.
Again.
Yeah.
Cold gin time again. Yeah.
So I think it's really interesting that we have members all around the world. You know, we talk about it all the time, but here it is. Here's proof. Members all over the world who are successful, influential people in society, and which is why I wanted to bring Mark on. He's a good guy. We've been talking for a while, and I'm sure he's got some really cool stories to tell us.
What have you guys been talking about?
And we've been talking about you and your record.
Nice.
Who pulled you up?
I don't have a record, you idiot. I'm like, squeaky clean, man.
Yeah, I know.
Good to hear.
Absolutely. Anyway, I can't have a CCW with a
So
record.
you're a cop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a detective in the Met in London.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
Right on.
That's
What,
got to be
is it a special department that you work for, as far as being a
Not at the
detective?
moment.
I mean,
No, it's far from fucking special. I've been a cop for 25 years. Joined in '93 when I was 21.
nice. Oh.
And you want me to take you through what I've done, or?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. In
Yeah,
great
sure.
detail.
Is that does that constitute a bobby? Are you a bobby?
Yeah, yeah. Or a copper.
The copper. Oh, do you get to carry a gun?
I used to. Yeah, I used to be on the firearms unit over here, John. As you probably know, not all coppers carry guns.
Right.
So
That's weird.
Yeah, I can see how it is. It's like you over in the States where you guys are from. Obviously, every copper, every cop, every guy walking around a mall on a Segway in Florida, they've got a gun, haven't they? Over here,
I
it's
mean, shit, we've
totally
all got
different.
guns.
Yeah.
It's totally different.
That's what keeps us free.
Yeah, man, I'm behind it. I've got to be honest.
Yeah.
I haven't got a problem.
Every country that bans them ends up killing their own citizens. It's crazy. Anyway,
Yeah.
I want to get into that. So tell us about, because I'm interested. You're like a detective. Like what happens over there? Because I know it's different than America. I mean, are there violent crimes over there that you have to like look into?
Oh yeah, there's violent crimes. I mean, a lot of the stuff where I work at the moment is what they call a borough. So if you imagine you've got London as a whole, and it's split into a certain amount of boroughs, which tend to be sort of administrative boundaries alongside, you kind of call it, I'm trying to think, not like state lines, obviously, but counties.
Counties or something?
Like that.
Okay.
But each borough's, if you imagine each borough's pretty tiny, because obviously it's the UK, we're not as big as you guys over there.
Yeah.
There's plenty of crime, from just your normal street antisocial behaviour to terrorist stuff, which is obviously quite en vogue at the moment. There's all sorts of stuff going on. And it tends to reflect what's going on elsewhere in the world, particularly the States. We always say we're sort of a few steps behind you guys with regards to crime trends and things like that. But I think we're catching up. I mean, you guys have had the recent sort of active shooters over there.
Yeah.
Over the last few years, and particularly in schools and that, because that's what makes the headlines. Very emotive topic, isn't it? But over here we've had numerous sort of Islamic terrorist issues where the active shooters have been Muslim terrorists, ISIS-inspired scumbags, and they'll just rock up somewhere, start shooting, start stabbing, until the good guys turn up.
Yeah.
And more importantly, good guys with guns, because over there, all the cops have got guns. Over here, the first guy on scene will 99.9% of the time be some poor cop who hasn't got a firearm, hasn't got a taser.
Want me to help you put that? Want me to end it right now? You can end it right now. You go on the news. You guys go on the news with a big announcement. Tell everybody that you're dipping your rounds in pig's blood.
Pig's blood.
They'll stop. They'll cut their shit out right away. Because if they think they're not going to get into heaven with 72 virgins, they're gonna obey and they're gonna act right. Works every time.
I'd love to see that, John. But can you imagine the uproar over here? There's a recent thing in the UK.
I'd rather that uproar than
totally,
the violence. So
yeah, totally. You got to look after your people, haven't you? And there's a recent thing. I was having a bit of an argument on my Facebook page. I don't know if Adam saw it, but about the banning of Lauren Southern coming into the UK.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, she's a conservative journalist. Used to work for Rebel Media.
Okay. Really
pretty young blonde girl, really nice girl. But she was banned from coming into the UK where she was going to do a documentary. Oh. But by the same token, we're letting in all these Islamic hate preachers and returning ISIS jihadis and stuff like that, and it's all arse backwards, isn't it?
It makes you think what's on the agenda.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
What are they doing? Like it's almost like they want civil unrest,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they could drop the hammer, Who knows? I don't know.
Who knows? Damn, it wouldn't surprise me, John. And the more you see it, and the more you hear about it, the more you can be forgiven for going a little bit Alex Jones on it. Do you know what I mean? It's
yeah. Yeah, that's a little, but yeah. So tell us about. I'll let you swallow. Tell us about.
That's video, man.
Tell us about one of the most hairiest shit that you've been into. Like, fuck, I could die or some crap. Like, anything happen like that?
Yeah, sure. Oh. I mean, like when I first joined the police, it was like in '93, and
you were 21 back then.
That's right, man.
Yeah.
I was a regular beat cop, like everyone is when they first join. And then after a few years, I transferred to a department called the TSG, which is the Territorial Support Group. And they are their main roles is in public order policing. So when you see the footage of the riots and stuff in London, they're the guys with that sort of blue helmets and shields and stuff like that.
Right.
So I did that for about 6.5 years. Yeah, that's it. Obviously, we're not having riots every day, so you do other stuff. I got heavily involved in surveillance and bits and pieces like that.
Yeah.
After a few years, I transferred to a department, which is now called, because as soon as you get a new boss, they have to change the signs on the door, don't they? And the department is now called SC&O 19, which is basically it's split into a few little departments within it, but that's the Metropolitan Police Firearms Department. And you've got the sort of spontaneous armed response side, which are uniform guys in cars with guns who, when the call goes out that there's like an armed robbery or an active shooter or something like that, they will be the first ones on scene generally, who have firearms, of course. Obviously, the normal beat cops of that particular ground.
So kind of like SWAT to us, right? Like a SWAT team?
Okay. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. But then after a few years, I progressed onto what they call a specialist firearms department within the Met, which is like your SWAT team. And they would do all the pre-planned firearms operations. So if say the flying squad, who are a unit who investigate armed robberies. If you've ever seen the British films, The Sweeney, like Ray back in the 70s and 80s, that's based on the flying squad. They would get you to come and help them and provide firearm support to them if they had intelligence that an armed robbery was going to take place. So you get wraparound jobs like that, counter-terrorism jobs, bits and pieces like that. Been shot at, been stabbed, been bitten. That was probably the scariest thing. Way before I was even carrying a gun. We were doing a job in the West End of London. You guys been to London?
To London?
No. I'd love to.
Okay, so like in the centre of London, where you've got like Nelson's Column and all the big sort of shopping areas, we were working around there in plain clothes, and it was like a taxi touting initiative. This is so shit. Where because it's illegal to actually be a taxi tout. So if some guy comes and solicits you in the street saying, "Oh, you're looking for a cab," that's illegal. So we were basically hired by the local area, to walk around and pretend to be looking for a cab. And you wait for the guys to come and say, "Oh, you're looking for a cab," and you say, "Well, I haven't booked one." They go, "Oh, no, it's no problem. I'll take you wherever you want to go." And you go, "Oh, okay." And then you give them the good news, or bad news.
Yeah, over here we call that entrapment.
Really?
Yeah.
No shit.
There's a fine line,
but I
isn't
mean,
there,
it's
between.
but it's not for cabs though. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole thing, shit.
Yeah. So
You get
I end
Uber,
up,
anybody can do it.
exactly. I end up nicking this guy, have a big fight, rolling around in the street, end up chasing him down onto the underground platform, like your subway.
Yep.
And I've got him. I'm just waiting for the other guys to turn up. So I've sort of subdued him, and he bites me on the hand, like proper sinks his teeth into my hand.
Damn.
And,
That's dangerous.
yeah, big time. End up, I get him to let go by repeated kinetic adjustment to his attitude, and we get back to the police station, and we go through the booking in procedure. It turns out that he's just come in the country from Ghana, like West Africa, and he.
Who knows what kind of disease he's got when he bit you?
Fucking Ebola.
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Dorian.
What do you call them again? Taxi what?
Touts?
Touts. Taxi touts.
Yeah,
Okay.
taxi tout.
Did you become a taxi tout after he bit you?
He turned into one.
Yeah.
On the first full moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Dawn of the taxi tout. That was
And then you bit a copper. Yeah, right.
That was it, and then it just spread. And now, the good thing, of course, John, is you can get a taxi anyway now. To someone else.
Is prostitution legal where you're at?
Hold on, he's not done with the story. We'll talk about
Okay,
hookers
sorry,
and blow later.
I'd rather talk about hookers and blow any day of the week. So anyway,
what happened to that guy?
Mate, it was so funny.
Yeah.
He bites me. I have to go off to. It turns out he's gay as well. So not is he from a West African country where AIDS is like rife. Turns out not only that, he's gay. So I'm just like, oh shit.
Did you become gay after he bit you?
I didn't know, but I do.
I saw that dress behind
There
you.
was the dress.
It's not there now. That's funny.
So so I go to the hospital, have all the injections and everything else.
Yeah,
Can't
yeah.
have unprotected sex for 6 months and all that shit. That's pretty stressful. This is back in like
Yeah, I bet.
98, I guess.
Oh, shit.
But when it comes to court, he turns up and he's given his job, obviously not as taxi driver. He gives his job as Methodist pastor. And I shit you not. I'm standing in court waiting for this dickhead to turn up. And he walks in, and it was like a papal fucking visit. He walks in full, like, I don't know, Methodist regalia and robes and everything else. And he's got this other guy walking behind him, some white dude.
Swinging the incense thing?
No, he's got like a Pope's hat. He looked like the singer out of Ghost.
What?
And he's got
He's handing out wafers?
a big crook thing.
And they advocate biting police officers. Nice.
He's like, I thought you were the body of Christ.
Oh, shit.
Darn
Yeah,
it.
he got away with it too, man. He
What?
got away with it too.
Shit.
No, he didn't, because you knew where he lived, but we won't talk about that on the show. That fucker.
Wow, that's messed up, man.
So you
I
can't.
can still remember that fucker's name as well.
They
Oh, I
bust
won't say.
taxi drivers over there, but what about prostitutes?
Oh, fucking love prostitution. Prostitution over here is legal,
Very civilized.
so there's no offence. There's no offence to. Mark said it was legal. There's no offence to prostitution, but the offence is solicitation. So where you've got the women on the side of the road stopping the cars in certain areas, red light districts of London, that's illegal. And there's
So
an
hold on.
offence.
So I understand it. A prostitute can suck my dick for $25, but she can't say, "Hey, I want to suck your dick for $25." It
I
just
think
has
she
to
can
happen.
say it, but she can't stop you in the street and advertise her services. And
But
pick
that's what I
something.
want her to do: is stop me
Yeah, because
right
how
in
you
the
gonna know?
street.
And she can't
That's
ask
what
you
I'm
if
saying.
you need a ride
brothels,
too, right?
brothels are legal then.
They are lethal. Yeah, that's right.
Not 100%, Dorian. It's because the other offence that they have is what they call over here living off immoral earnings. So if it can be proved that you're living off earnings from prostitution, it's fucked up. The
For
laws are
lawful carnal knowledge.
fucked up. Yeah,
That's
not my favourite Van Halen album, Dorian, but
Not bad.
Dive her down. Yeah. No, dude, that sucks.
sorry, Adam, you were going to say something.
Oh, I was just curious about the laws over there because you bust taxi drivers, but then prostitution is legal. It's the opposite over here. It's
I think
odd.
I think
No.
what they have over here is you've got the image of the London black cab, the London taxi that you can probably, when you think of London postcards, you'll have some beefeater from the Tower of London, a black taxi, and a big red double-decker bus.
Right. Okay.
But we have a massive problem with unlicensed. I don't know why I'm talking about fucking taxis. When I think about the shit I've done in my career, and I'm talking about taxis. But hey,
What if a prostitute also ran a taxi? Then
That's
you
what I
gotta-
was saying.
you're going to be so happy, John, because she can drive you along while sucking your
Relaxy
dick.
taxi.
Nice. She can work my
Yeah.
stick while she works her stick.
That's it, man. But we have a big problem, or had a big problem, with unlicensed taxi drivers, like this dickhead that decided he was going to take a chunk out of me.
Yeah.
Because they won't be insured. We went for a phase of like loads of, because you imagine someone like that going up to some young girl who's drunk and staggering about. Oh, I'll take you home, darling, no problem at all. You know what's going to happen, and it happened a lot. So we had a massive problem with that. So they wanted to tidy it up, and for the most part, it is. But it's also about money, isn't it? Because if they're unlicensed, they're not giving a kickback to the local government, and
yeah, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
yeah.
have you ever
that
worked
sucks,
like
though.
some crazy homicides or anything?
in my career, I've been first on scene at 3 murders.
Ah,
One of which was when I was off duty,
wow.
which was entertaining.
Did you get sick?
Yeah.
Did you vomit?
No,
No? You like that shit, huh?
He's badass.
I love it.
Have a strong stomach.
Yeah, it's been when I was quite young in the job. One Sunday we got called round to some old boy's house because the social care people had pitched up with his meal. They couldn't open the door, and they thought he'd fallen over because all they could see was his feet. So they needed the cops to come around and kick the door in, make sure he was okay. So me and my partner, we go round there and we look through the letterbox. And the first thing's obviously the smell. I don't know how this other guy couldn't pick it up, but it smelled fucking horrendous. And also,
What did it smell like? Did it smell like the inside of a fake leg?
That
Wow,
is an analogy.
I don't know what this is.
But yeah, and then I'm looking at the guy's feet through the letterbox, and it looks like he's wearing horrible black, nasty skin tight socks.
was his
So
skin,
we kicked the
wasn't it?
door in. He'd been murdered. He'd been stabbed in the neck.
Ah.
And then when I was living in the West End of London,
He wasn't Nigerian, was he?
he wasn't Nigerian. No,
Oh,
he was an old white boy.
Oh, wow.
And that was the other thing on that job. There was he kept caged birds. So as we kicked the door in, unbeknownst to us, there'd been a struggle, obviously, as there normally is in a murder. And where he'd staggered around with this, and he was stabbed in the neck with a fucking potato peeler.
Oh, I hate
And as
when that
he's
happens.
Oh, shit.
yeah,
Sucks.
peeling his, and yeah, he knocked his like fucking budgerigar canary cage over. So as soon as we've kicked in the door, we're hit by the smell, and then about half a dozen budgies flying at us. It was pretty fucking surreal. It was like a Fulci film.
It was like a murder.
Yeah, it was like a murder because he was murdered to death.
I wonder
Yeah.
what the murderer said. Like, I'm gonna peel out. I'm kind of like cool Schwarzenegger.
Wow. Oh my God, no. That's funny. Damn, man. Wow. That's just
But then-
nuts.
Moving from boring fucking taxis and dead old guys, I joined the firearms department and got involved in numerous jobs where the upshot of it was people got shot. And I've been on jobs where I was shot at only a couple of times.
How close did the bullet come? Like
Was it-
right
oh,
by
I
the
can see
head?
it.
No, but I mean, was it like phew, or was it like over there?
He was like,
No, you never hear well, I saw the muzzle flash as this guy was firing at us.
Did you poop your pants?
Nah, not really.
a little squirt of pee.
I wouldn't have worn them again the following day.
Nice. Did they smell like the inside of a fake leg?
I love that fake leg.
Love it.
Just to clarify, John's ex-girlfriend had a fake leg. That's why he's hung up on that. So
That's not true.
Oh man. On that note, years and years and years back when I
He's
was a
a
really
fucking
young
liar.
cop,
No, what?
we had to go, and one of the things you do is you have to go and give death messages. So if someone's died somewhere else in the country or someone's gone into
that's
hospital and they passed away, you have to, as a cop, you have to go around and tell their nearest and dearest and their loved ones
Yeah,
that,
I regret to inform you. Yeah.
yeah.
that'd be the worst part, probably.
that's
Yeah, it's pretty shit.
'Cause-
But this
'cause-
one job, it was like a Monday morning or something. We go round to this house because the guy's ex-wife had passed away. Like she was a junkie and she died. And we go around
He's
around
like,
the house and
yeah.
it's about 8 o'clock in the morning. And I ring the doorbell and this little girl in school uniform comes down and I say, oh hi, is your dad there? You know, whatever his name was. And she goes, oh yeah, he's upstairs. Do you want to go up? And I was like, yeah. Oh, okay. So I go upstairs and there's this guy just lying there in bed with the sheets pulled up to his neck. And I'm like, all right. So I establish who he's supposed to be, and this is all a little bit weird. And I say, oh, really sorry to tell you, mate, that your ex-wife, whatever her name was, has died. And he's like, oh, okay. He took it really well. He's like, oh, okay. Well, that's no surprise. He said, oh, anyway, he said, I'm going to get up. Can you pass me my leg? And I was like, what? And he
Oh,
said,
shit.
can you just, he didn't point, but he said, can you pass me my leg? It's behind you. So I turn around and there's this fucking fake leg job.
Oh my God. Did
So
you
I'm like-
smell it? Did you smell it?
Do you know what? If it was now, I would give it, I'd smell the shit out of it. But I just picked this fake leg up and handed it to this guy
Yeah.
who's then strapping it on with only like one arm because he'd lost his limbs due to diabetes or something like that. I thought I was in a fucking David Lynch film. It was pretty bizarre.
It's got to smell like a bucket of smashed assholes, you know, like just.
Oh, I know.
Anyway,
Alrighty.
that's crazy. I thought he was gonna be happy, you know, ex-wife, you know, like yeah, fuck that bitch.
tired of paying that bitch.
Yeah. You ever been to a Turkish prison?
I haven't. I've been to
Grey
British
man
prisons.
No. Damn. Tell us about the funniest one. Let's switch gears. What is the
Oh,
most
this is-
comical thing that you've seen on the job in 25 years? Besides me.
There's we went as a detective. We went around to a suspect's house because he'd come back on like a forensic docket. So when you get your house burgled, the guys come round and they do all the fingerprints and DNA swabbing and stuff like that. And this guy turned up on and then you get your results pretty soon and
Yeah.
go around and try and find them, obviously. So we got around to this guy's house, and I was working with another detective who was quite a big lad, but unbeknownst to me, terrified of dogs. So there's like a little side access gate, and I said, "All right, Dan, can you go down the side of the house while I knock at the door, just in case he runs out." The baddie does, and he's gone, "Oh, okay." So he's just sort of held and hovering by the gate, and I knock on the door, and you hear this dog barking, and it ain't a deep bark; it's like a little yap, and he goes round the back, and sure enough, the fucking back door opens, so matey can just leg it away, and this little West Highland white terrier comes sprinting out and chases my mate Dan away, and he's a great big guy, and he's shitting his pants over this little Westie house.
Oh,
and then of course we're running after the fucking burglar.
Wow.
There's probably loads of funny shit.
Yeah.
I have to try and think of some, but that sticks in my head, because then after that, all I could do was find loads of Google images of West Highland White Terriers and just pin them up all around the police station, hide them in
Yeah.
files. Yeah.
That's funny.
Nice.
Change his ringtone to a dog barking. That's awesome.
You drinking Budweiser?
Yeah, king of beers, apparently.
Nice. Hell yeah. Me too.
Well, I bought my wife got me a few of these are quite big bottles. Huh?
Yeah, they are.
My wife got me that, but I bought a case. This is kind of hard to get over here, but Dave Ingram's coming round like this time next month, and he likes this stuff.
EBR.
PBR.
Okay, there's so many good beers there, and you're drinking this shit.
I know.
So I bought a case of this. But
Speckled
I promised
hen.
Dave,
Yeah, it's for Dave.
that I wouldn't
It's for
touch
Dave.
it.
He's just trying it out.
I promised him I wouldn't touch it, but I have. So never trust a cop.
All the beers I drink are from your area, so.
Yeah. That's funny.
Crazy.
You like speckled hen then?
Speaking.
No, he likes
Oh, yeah,
spotted
Actually,
dick.
I actually like spotted dick. A lot of Scottish beer, like Belhaven and that sort of thing too.
Okay.
But yeah, I do like speckled hen. Good stuff. Yeah. So
So what possessed you to get into the field of law enforcement?
Well, I was young and needed
Charles
money.
Bronson,
Yeah. If only.
Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry.
Yeah, right.
And I left school at 18, 19, and I went through the selection for the Royal Marines.
Cool.
Obviously, the English equivalent of your US Marine Corps. And I was going through an officer entry process for that, but it was quite long-winded. And in the meantime, I'd got a job doing some computer shit that I totally bluffed myself into, but it was paying really well. And when the Marine stuff come in with a date to go on what they call a potential officers course, which is like the start of your training and how they whittle you down to the people that actually want. I looked at what was going on, and I had a motorbike, I had a car, I had enough money in my pocket to go to the pub, and girls were involved, and I thought, right, do I want to give all that up and go and get shouted at and for half the money? So I decided not to, and I wish I had. I really wish I had have done. But then I just got so bored with what I was doing, and I thought, well, let's have a little look at the police. And that's why I joined, really. And don't, it's a good job. All bullshit aside, it's nice to sort of think that you're making a difference and all that sort of thing, and trying to help people. But 9 times out of 10, especially in the press, you only ever hear the negative shit about the police.
Right, exactly.
Which is always massively. I mean, I don't have to tell you guys, because over there, a cop's just got to shoot a black guy, and all of a sudden he's done the wrong thing, and he's hung out to dry and everything else.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what's in vogue over here now is these First Amendment audits. They go out to the police stations and federal buildings, and they're videotaping them, and the people don't know the law, so they'll call the police. The police come, it's astounding how many police don't know the law as well.
I bet.
The guy's on a public sidewalk doing a constitutionally protected activity. It's totally legal. You could film anything you can from a public place. It doesn't matter if it's private property as long as you don't go on it, And some police know that, and some don't. And it's just this whole big thing on YouTube now, this crazy First Amendment audit thing. It's all over the place. But do you guys have anything like that going on? People are filming. You have any like issues with that?
All the time now, because obviously, everyone's got one of these
Everybody
now.
can film.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Everyone wants to film everything to the point where, someone could be getting mugged in the street or robbed in the street, and instead of jumping in to help them, your concerned citizens are just filming it for YouTube and all the rest of it.
Wow.
There's certain laws over here with regard to terrorism where if you suspect or think someone's filming a public building or something like that for terrorist purposes, for reasons of hostile reconnaissance and stuff like that, you can arrest them, seize their phone and everything else. But it's pretty vague legislation and obviously quite difficult to prove. What I really like at the moment, especially in the States, because obviously, and I might be getting this wrong, over there you've got the FBI, which is like a federal investigation agency that covers the whole of the country, and their remit is, sort of serious stuff. You've got numerous other organisations, but when it comes down to your city police, your metro PDs, your sheriff's departments, and things like that, obviously there's always going to be a lot of politics in it. But what I've seen recently, and I think it's a really good trend, is when there is a police shooting, obviously you've got your usual Black Lives Matter, Antifa, fucking socialist, whatever the fucking pussy hat wearing motherfuckers are, going to moan about shit.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I really like, and what a lot of your police chiefs are doing now, is as soon as they're saying, "Oh, poor Johnny was shot, the cop was out of order, blah blah blah," is they're releasing the dash cam footage or the body cam footage straight away.
Yeah.
And they're saying, well, actually, no, you can see him pointing a gun at the cop, or you can see him being told 100 times not to move before he's shot and things like that.
Yeah. Get your hand out of your pocket. Get your hand out of your pocket. Get your hand. Okay. Well, he didn't.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, these people are just fucking stupid. They're not obeying a lawful
you
order.
can't legislate for stupidity.
Yeah.
And also, I think when you've got, and this is just looking at it as an outsider, when you've got organisations like Black Lives Matter, and they're pushing their agenda, and this whole hands up, don't shoot bullshit. I think that's probably some of these young gangsters are feeling a little bit empowered by that, and that's probably getting them shot. I don't know what you guys think, because they're behaving like they think they should, and as opposed to how they ought to, and that's probably getting a lot of them shot. But what I really like is that the police chiefs are coming out straight away in some places and saying, well, actually, my officers did nothing wrong. Listen to this, it's all very well you standing here protesting my officers and what they've done and having a go at their actions, but you weren't here last week when it was the drive-by shooting where a little 4-year-old girl was killed and stuff like that. They don't give a fuck. Over in the UK, we don't have that, because you've got, I guess over there in the sort of smaller towns and cities, once you get to that sort of level in the police force over there, you're probably on some sort of contract or something like that. You're not looking at then going into political office or anything beyond that. That's your job. Your job is to look after the boys and girls underneath you and protect them as much as you can.
Yeah.
Over here, when in the Met, if there's a police shooting, that you never, ever, ever see the commissioner or any one of the senior ranks standing outside Scotland Yard saying, "Oh, I fully support my officers. They've done nothing wrong, blah, blah, blah." They always go, "Well, we can't make any comments at this stage because it's under investigation. And our thoughts and prayers are with the deceased's family," and all this shit. Yeah. Having been through similar myself, your thoughts and prayers should be with the families of your guys who have pulled the trigger, because they're the ones that are going to go through it as well. And they're the ones you should be looking after. But I truly think, guys, that's a political thing, because when you get to be Commissioner of the Police in the Met, especially, and also like Chief Constable in all the other sort of outlying counties over here, your next move, a lot of the time, is some sort of political office. So you don't want to rock the boat too much. I can't be seen to be doing this. God forbid anyone ever says I'm racist or anything like that,
Yeah,
so they don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to upset the apple cart. But in doing so, I think they seriously let down the boys and girls under.
Yeah,
and it's quite nice to see.
Yeah.
In the States, a lot of the police chiefs standing on the steps of City Hall or whatever it is, and saying, "No, my officers got much support. They've done the right thing. Here, have a look at this dash cam footage." They'd never do that over here. They'd never do it.
They should.
And I think that's a real positive.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There's probably negatives to go with it, but fuck it.
Yeah.
It's everything here is so very divisive right now. I mean, it's you're either 100% this side or 100% that side. There's no, using any intellect or any reason to figure things out. It's just.
Adam, are you on your phone?
No.
It sounds
You hear like a.
That's weird.
There's a storm going on here.
Oh, okay. We're picking up.
So
some
whereabouts
kind
you
of
guys
storm.
in the States? John, whereabouts you? Whereabouts you in the States?
All over the country.
Oh, I'm in Arizona.
Cool. Dorian?
Florida.
Lovely. Adam, whereabouts you, mate?
California. Northern California.
Yeah. Well, I've been to Florida. I've been to California.
Spread across the whole country.
Yep.
Like a plague. Yeah.
A new plague. Yeah.
Right.
Nice. So yeah, maybe I don't know. You think that the UK will follow suit? Like you said earlier in the show that you're a couple steps behind us and things. You think they will end up doing something like that, where they release the footage? Look, I support my officers. Nothing was done, wrong here. Check this out for yourself.
I think I'd love to see that, John. I really would.
Yeah.
The other thing as well that I forgot to mention is the commissioner of police over here, although they've been a police officer and worked their way up through the ranks and everything else, they're actually put in place by politicians. So if you've got, I remember a few years ago we had, I think it was before, the current commissioner is a woman called Cressida Dick. And to be fair, she's not bad, and she's got bigger balls than the last few that have been before her. She was in charge of, do you remember when we had the July 7th bombings on the underground, the metro in London?
Yeah.
And we, armed officers shot a Brazilian guy, who they thought was a suicide bomber. Remember that?
Yeah.
She was running. Okay, edit this bit out. And she was very supportive. But of course now she's commissioner and she's been put there by politicians, and she's very capable. And of course the fact she's a woman isn't doing her any harm. And so I don't think we're ever going to get to that stage because, I'm sure they don't, but the perception is, certainly by the guys and girls who actually do the job, that as soon as we shoot someone, our brass is more interested in looking after the family or the guy we've shot and stuff like that. And you think, you do not know what your boys and girls are going through.
Yeah.
Because it's a big fucking deal, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And the stresses and pressures on the guys and girls and their families is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, let's switch it up. Satanism.
Yeah, let's talk about something else we all love. Wait a minute. We're getting there.
Satanism.
We got to talk about heavy metal, man.
Yeah.
You're involved in a radio show of heavy metal. You're involved in writing reviews. Let's talk about your history with metal, man. What's going on with that? Because we're all metal fans here.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, your voice sounds
metal's one of those
familiar.
things.
You've been on a podcast with David Ingram, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Metal Breakfast Radio, which is on Radio Free Satan.
Yeah.
Along with loads of other cool podcasts.
Yep.
But I've known Dave for a few years, and we're like good buddies. And I'm wearing one of his band shirts now, and he'll fucking kill me if I don't show you. Echelon.
Nice.
Dave's a bit of a legend in death metal,
Yeah.
as you know.
Mm-hmm.
He's a legend
Sounds really
here,
cool.
too.
Yeah.
Well, amongst the three of us.
Yeah. Warlock of the Year. But he's a good friend of mine. But as you guys know, metal's never a passing phase, is it? You get into it, you're into it for life. It never fucking leaves you.
Absolutely.
That's right.
but yeah, I've been into it since I was about 11 or 12. I remember coming home with my dad had like this big old antique record player. This thing was huge. It was like a piece of furniture. And I remember coming home with Bark at the Moon,
Oh,
and I
nice.
put it on, and the bass on this thing was. I mean, it was like it must have been made in the early '60s. This thing,
Yeah.
and it had like a cocktail cabinet in the side of it. It was great. And I remember coming home and putting on Bark at the Moon, and it was in the spare room because over here we have a spare room where only you only take guests. And I'm playing this thing. My dad come in, and he's like, "Mark, turn it off. You're gonna break it. You're playing that heavy metal rubbish." So it was like Bark at the Moon, Van Halen, 1984, and then you sort of spiral from that. You get mates who are into metal, and they might be into something different. When thrash came out, everyone was mad into thrash, and your Big Four, and I always liked Overkill and Exodus the best. They were always my favourite thrash bands.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then you sort of
Just
get into
starts the downward spiral then, right?
Yeah.
And that's how you found Satanism.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man.
You get into all your little subgenres, don't you? And you've got like black metal and all those crazy Norwegians that set fire to things and stab each other. Not a big fan of that genre, to be honest. I'd rather listen to fucking Obituary or something like that than some of those sort of tinny, badly produced, badger painted.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I ended up liking more of the better produced black metal, only because I like production. And there was a rawness to certain bands when they first started that because they just used what they had. But I think when you follow suit years later by saying I want this to be so real, I'm just going to use my little shitty 4-track recorder to purposely make it sound shit. That's not real,
That's exactly right. It's just that's really poncy, and I think you're spot on, Dorian. You've got bands today who, they want. This is 2018. They want to sound like a Dark Throne demo. So, like you say, they'll be on this shitty little 4-track that they've hidden in a biscuit tin and buried in a fucking hedge while they're playing their guitar outside it and running around a forest looking mean. But yeah, some of the better produced black metal is pretty cool. Have you heard the new Dimmu Borgir track? Do you like them?
I've heard just the one song.
Yeah.
I haven't heard the whole album yet, but
no, I haven't heard the album. The new song, it's almost like Nightwish.
Yeah.
I said to my mate, it's like Nightwish goes Satan.
You know what I'm digging on? Yeah. I'm digging on the new Venom Inc. What's his name?
Yeah, he was there last night.
Oh, yes, man.
Man, I've got to say,
Satanas. I love it.
I went to their gig in London
last night, right?
Last night.
Yeah.
I saw them last night, and they were absolutely fucking fantastic.
Oh, hell yeah.
Really, really good. And there's loads of guys that...
When did it go from Venom to Venom Inc.?
Something legal
What happened, and this is my understanding of it, I think the last album... All right, let's think. You got the classic Venom 3-piece lineup of Kronos, Mantis, and Abaddon.
Yeah.
And then if you go back, say, 25, 30 years, Kronos left. They got a guy called Tony Dolan in on vocals and bass, who is the fucking man. And then Mantas and Abaddon left as well. So it was just Kronos. So the current Venom is Kronos plus, I think it might even be his son playing guitar or something like that. And it's not shit.
So it's just legal shit now, huh?
Yeah, but the old Venom lineup of Mantas, Abaddon, and like Tony Dolan, they formed a band called Empire of Evil, which is pretty good. But when they formed Venom Inc. and they put that album out, man, that album was one of the best metal albums of last year.
Yeah,
absolutely killed them.
Yeah,
and seeing them live last night, we all go to gigs, and sometimes and Suffocation was supporting them. I don't know if you
nice,
the old New York death metal band Suffocation was supporting, so it was a great gig.
Of course.
But it's a long time since I'd spent a gig smiling and just banging my head and just having a great time. It was the fucking essence of heavy metal last night. It was great.
Nice.
And the new songs, I mean, you've heard the album, have
Yeah.
they? The new songs are really strong,
Yeah.
and they stood side by side with all the old classics as well. They
Yeah.
really did.
Nice.
Yeah, that was fantastic. But the recent, I'm just looking. I've got my CDs like in a rack over here. The recent Venom album is a bit crap.
Yeah.
It's a bit weak. It's
Yeah.
nothing that Kronos Venom has done is anywhere near as good as Venom Inc. Anywhere.
I
at
like
all.
is it called Resurrection? I think that album is called Resurrection.
Yeah.
Yeah, that album I dig that one a lot.
My favourite Venom. I mean, you've got the old classics, Welcome to Hell, Black Metal, At War with Satan.
Yeah,
but,
what we're saying.
if you haven't got it, Primeval
Oh.
is an absolute monster, and it's the same lineup more or less as the Venom Inc. album that's just come out.
Sweet.
But that is really, really good, and I think Tony Dolan's voice is so strong, so powerful.
Yeah.
And on stage, he's really magnetic as well. And like a lot of things, you get when a band like Slayer, when Jeff Hanneman passed away, or when Dave Lombardo left, you've got all these dickheads hiding behind the keyboard going, "No, it's not Slayer without Dave. No Dave Lombardo, no Slayer. They should just hang it up." Whatever. Yeah, fuck off. You've got guys doing this with Venom, and you see people going, "Oh no, Kronos, no Venom," and all this shit. I was like, seriously? You've got 2/3 of the lineup there, along with a guy who probably made more
People
albums
forget
with them
that.
than Kronos.
Yeah.
And they were so good, man. They were really,
sweet.
really killer.
Tell us about
That's one of
Kiss.
the best- Yeah, well, I was about to say that's the best gig I've been to since Kiss last year.
Nice.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah. My wife took me to Vegas last year, stupidly in June.
Oh shit!
So it was really, really hot.
Yeah, hot.
I'm going there tomorrow.
Hey, you going tomorrow?
Yeah.
On
Yeah, a bunch of
bikes?
us are riding the bikes up, and we're going to go up there for the
Lesbians toilet sex.
weekend. Yeah, man.
Yeah, mate.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I forgot about that. Ah, nice.
That's a good name for a bar.
Lesbian toilet sex?
Lesbian toilet sex.
Fuck yeah, dude. Ashport.
You don't get the people you want in there.
Ashport and Spiegel. Funny.
Hmm. Yeah, my wife took me to Vegas last year, June or July. And while we were out there, we went to. I've never been before. My wife's been to Vegas before. But we went to one of the big hotels just off the strip where they've got the Kiss mini golf thing. Now, I don't play golf, but I wanted to go because it's fucking Kiss.
Yeah.
But have you been there? They've got the Kiss Museum. They've got all the merchandise. John, you got to go, man.
I'll have to find out. I'm going to Gordon Ramsay's restaurant. We're going to do a lot of drinking and doing stuff, but
Oh, cool.
I'll see if anybody wants to break off and do that. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, I'll send you I'll send you the details of it. It was fantastic, and you can get married there. They've got a little Kiss wedding chapel where some dude dressed as Gene Simmons comes out and probably sticks his tongue in your
Mini
wife.
Kiss play. That'd be...
Oh, she'd like that.
Yeah.
That's nice.
But that was really cool. And the last time I saw Kiss was last year. There's a big venue in London called the O2, massive, great arena. And we were lucky. We got standing tickets there last year to see them. Oh, it's fucking incredible. They never do a bad show.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what was another good Kiss gig that we went to. I think it was 2011. There's a charity over here called Help for Heroes, and it's money for veterans and guys who have lost limbs or whatever else, and it raises money. It's a massive charity in the UK. And Kiss, everyone goes on about how Gene and Paul were a little bit perhaps guarded with money and stuff like that, but they did a charity gig at a really small venue on the 4th of July of all dates in London in 2011.
Wow.
For Help for Heroes. Full makeup, obviously not as much of a thing. They had loads of pyro as well. Oh, that was the hottest gig I've ever been to. Because again, it's July in London, but that was a fantastic gig and a really nice sort of token, really, from them because they didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
But Gene Simmons always getting a bit
Robert
of a kick
Mosley
in
just
the
did that. I think Robert Mosley just ordered that Kiss box set where like fucking Gene Simmons actually delivers it to you.
Oh, the vault.
Gene
Yeah, the
Simmons
vault.
Vault.
I think that's about like $15,000 or something stupid like that, isn't it? But he comes around your house, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I know, he did a thing in
crazy.
London recently
It's
where,
cool though, man.
Yeah.
yeah, totally. I mean, he did a thing in London where everyone that bought it went to him, and he was at like the Hard Rock Cafe in London. And I don't know how many he sold, probably not that many, but it was like a big signing session and meet and greet and everything else.
Cool.
I think that's what this was too. I think it was some bar or venue, something like that. But I don't know. I saw the pictures. It was cool.
I think Kiss are definitely one of those bands that you either like or you don't. And there's so many, and you probably see it yourselves. There's so many metal fans that are just happy to sort of just slag them off and say they're shit and whatever else. But fucking hell, you go to a Kiss gig, you see where your money's gone.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
every
Exactly.
every
that's
penny,
a
every
it's
cent
a hell of a
is there.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the best.
You can't deny the
I'm
influence
actually-
they've had. They've had such a huge
No.
influence on heavy metal.
Massive. If you listen to,
Yeah.
do you know the old sort of one of the original black metal bands, Bathory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hawthorne from Bathory, massive Kiss fan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Massive Kiss fan.
Yeah.
The guys from
Of course.
Dark Throne, massive Kiss fans.
I bet.
Dimebag Darrell
absolutely.
from Pantera, buried in a fucking Kiss casket.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Kiss
Yeah.
Coffin.
Think about all
With
the people that,
Ace's guitar, I think.
think about all the
Yeah.
people that actually hate Kiss. Think about they're some of the stupidest people you've ever want to meet,
Yeah.
right?
I don't want to be their friend.
Yeah.
Right. They suck.
Stupid. They
Yeah.
really suck.
I'm actually putting together a small miniseries podcast for RFS. That's all metal stuff and going back and playing some of the Kiss stuff in the '80s and you know what's funny is like if you just read their lyrics, they're terrible. But when you put it together, the whole package with Kiss, it's awesome because you know I mean,
It is.
number one you got your nostalgia and just remembering the '70s and being a kid. And they were kind of scary when you saw like posters of them, which is cool, which made you want to listen to them. But then you put together the show and everything, and nothing else like it. I mean, they're a great band. When you got to put it all together though. Like their lyrics might as well have been written by a 14-year-old boy, but
Oh, totally.
other than when you put it all together, it's amazing.
Yeah.
100% agree with you, man. Like that, like especially the old classic era Kiss when they first come out, those first half dozen albums. That was lightning in a bottle for all those factors.
Yep.
You could have taken any band, could have done one thing. You could have had a band with the makeup, you could have had a band with the songs, you could have had a band with the fucking stage show, and they'd have all been shit.
Yep.
But you get all that together with the guys behind it, and obviously there's a lot of business acumen there and merchandising and everything else. But for me, that's part of the charm of it.
Oh, it's
I
genius.
don't necessarily want a Kiss lunchbox. I do. I really want one. But but the fact I can buy one, and it's like next to some Kiss golf balls and Kiss condoms, I think
Kiss coffin. Got a Kiss
Shit.
coffin still. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, totally.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Motorhead when they were going probably edged.
Oh,
Kiss
did
really
you guys see the packaging of the Kiss brand of air guitar strings?
Yeah.
They've got them in that place. my
Yeah, it's a
wife
fucking
went.
empty bag.
It's an empty bag. Kiss air
Yeah.
guitar strings, $5. What?
That's all Gene
Thanks very much.
Simmons, man. He's a
Yeah,
genius.
totally. But people are throwing money at him. What can he do? What's he going to do? Stop?
Right.
No,
I think
yeah.
it's great.
Yeah, no
That's
shit.
awesome.
If I
Yeah,
saw
Kiss-
it at the store, I'd be tempted to buy it just to have the novelty of I bought Kiss air guitar strings.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Totally.
Kiss
I
was
know
my
it's
first
stupid,
concert,
but
man.
still.
Oh hell yeah! Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Hell yeah, nice.
Nice. Yeah, that was my first concert. Was Kiss, man. I was sold.
oh, fucking great. The first time I saw him was Donington Monsters of Rock Festival in '88, which would have been around. It was no makeup, so it would have been around
Yeah.
fucking Animalize or something like that. All the
Yeah.
really cheesy hair metal stuff.
Yeah.
But they were still great. They still kicked
It's
ass.
a great era of
Yeah.
Kiss, I think.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I-
That would have been
Dave's favourite
Crazy
Kiss album is
Nights,
The Elder.
actually.
yeah, well,
Crazy
it was.
Nights.
You're right. It was Crazy Nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first tour concert was Asylum off the Asylum album.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that's a
Nice.
very underrated album, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People like slag Asylum off, but I like it.
Yeah. No,
I prefer it.
I-
Dave's favourite album is The Elder. He loves
Yeah.
that album by Kiss. And I
That's
was
my
like,
least favorite, I think.
Yeah, I think it's most sensible guy's least favourite Kiss album.
Yeah.
I think Matt
He loves
Paradise digs that one too.
He
Yeah.
does. He did a whole special on it.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes. Not my favourite.
What are they going to do next?
Knights in Satan service. Speaking of Satan.
Speaking of Satan,
Nice segue.
See
That's
how?
awesome.
See? Yeah, there you go.
How did you
I got
happen
one more
upon
thing to
Satanism?
add.
All
One
right,
more
go
thing
ahead,
before
Adam.
So you're a professional bodybuilder too.
no, not professional.
Well, you took
Strictly
second
amateur.
place. Okay. What
Yeah.
competition did you take second place in the U.S.?
In bodybuilding, it was in the UK, and it was a local show, and it was
Okay.
back in 2001. And I looked pretty fucking good, and I came second, which was fine. Like, thing with bodybuilding, after I got out, jumping ahead, after I finished bodybuilding, I sort of got into powerlifting, and that's a lot better because you can eat loads of pizza,
Oh, yeah.
and also it's not subjective. You can either
Some
lift a
chocolate
fucking weight
cake
or you
between your
can't.
sets.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's it, man. Whereas bodybuilding, it's a bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Gay. And let me tell you, there's nothing gayer than standing there in a pair of trunks while your mate is putting Dreamtown on your butt cheeks.
Yeah.
I did have a moment where I was pondering my life choices.
Asking you how he looks. How do I look?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are my glutes shredded enough for you?
Yep.
So
yeah, I think
didn't you
second
compete
place
in the U.S. as well?
No, I didn't compete in the US.
Okay.
When I competed here, I did all right. Like I said, I came second in that show, and I'd just gone, like, the girlfriend I was with at the time. We'd split up, and we had a house together and everything else, and it was all super stressful. And I had a bit of money in my pocket, not from the show, obviously, because that doesn't pay. But I went and I thought, right, what do I want to do? And I went and stayed in LA for about 2 weeks, 10 days, and I trained every day at Gold's Venice.
Yeah, that's a great gym.
Which, for someone who's into that sort of thing, it's just mega, because you're seeing guys that you see in the magazines.
Yep.
Oh
yeah.
So that was pretty cool, and they were all really cool as well. That was the other thing. Everyone I met, everyone I spoke to, was really nice down there. Venice was kind of a weird place.
I
as a
love
whole.
Venice Beach. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a zoo. Isn't it?
I think Venice is a shithole, actually,
Really?
myself.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, that was one of the first places we went to, because everyone's like, "Oh, you're an artist, you'll love it," and I was like, "This is just a bunch of dirtbags looking for, we'll trade for weed." I mean, like,
Yeah.
This is a shithole. Sorry, I was
Yeah,
unimpressed.
I was over there, and I was over there on my
It's
own.
the
so
dregs of society.
It was very, it was interesting. I wouldn't want to live there, but I was kind of.
Fuck that. No.
I would love to live on the strip there, man. It's so
Yeah.
dirty and just, I mean, the little shops on the side there, the freak show, everything.
Yeah.
It's
It smells like the inside of a fake leg over there.
yeah.
You know, I'm going to fucking find you a fake leg, John. I'm going to FedEx it to
Yeah,
you, man.
do it. Make sure you put like a Kiss logo on it. That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
That's fine.
All right.
Oh, in the bio, I'm reading. Adam wrote you have 25-inch biceps. Is that true?
No,
Oh,
what, he's made that up.
I must have been drunk. Sorry.
Yeah, so I got out of bodybuilding because bearing in mind, I'm a cop, and I was in a specialist department at the time.
Yeah.
There's certain sort of things you do in contest prep that really weren't too conducive to being a law enforcement officer.
Sure.
So I sort of got out of that and just trained for fun after that. Yeah. And then a few years back, because I'm like 46 now, but I still like training. I still enjoy it. And I got into powerlifting, and I entered my first powerlifting competition. Would have been May last year, and I won my class in that, which was pretty good. That was like the county where I am is Essex in England, and it was the Essex Powerlifting Championships, and I won my weight class. So I was really happy with it. As I've suffered loads of fucking injuries and shit through work and training, so to be able to do that was psychologically, it was really good for me. I thought I enjoyed it.
well, we have more women that watch our show than men. We did a poll.
I'm not
it's
taking
about,
my top off, John.
Oh, they're asking you to. They're asking you to. That's why they're like, let's see the abs.
Mate, I'm a powerlifter. I've got no fucking abs, man.
He's got one
You
ab.
could grate
Yeah.
cheese on my abs, but it'd be cream cheese.
You'll have an ab. That's funny.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. It's awesome.
All right.
Finally.
All right,
Can
so
we do it now?
Satanism.
Let's do Satanism.
Yeah, let's do
How old were you when you happened upon it?
The Bible, I came across the Satanic Bible when I would have been, wasn't a million years ago, man. It was probably about 2000, 2005. So a bit of a late bloomer, I guess. And I remember picking it up, reading it, because obviously through the heavy metal thing and Satan and all the rest of it, and people would talk about it and you go, oh yeah, well, let's give it a run. And I got hold of a copy and I read it. And like with most people, you either get it or you don't, and it resonates with you. I would guess, or it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember reading through it and thinking, well, that makes fucking sense. That's sort of how I live my life anyway.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was dating a girl who was an airline hostess. And I mention that only so you can build a picture of this girl. She's not fat and ugly. But she was
in
a
the
very
Mile High
staunch,
Club.
yeah, she was a very staunch Catholic.
Oh boy.
And I remember coming in one day and the Bible, because I hadn't thought about joining the COS or anything like that. It was just something to read. It was an interesting thing. Like I said, it resonated with me, and I thought, yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. I can see where he's coming from. And I come home one day and it was in the bin, and I said, what? Why'd you throw that away? She goes, oh, I can't be having that stuff in my house, and I wouldn't mind. It was my fucking house. And I said, well, you don't just throw a book away. Did you bother read it? No, I'm not reading that. It's horrible. I mean, you must fucking see it all the time. You know, people are, and even family members, because I don't really advertise it. It's one of those things. It's a personal thing to me.
Yeah.
Most of my friends know, especially in like sort of music community and that. But it's not something you talk about. It's not like a fucking, I don't know. It's not like a badge of honor or anything like that. You're not promoting it. It's like something you believe, something you want to be a part of, and that's that, you know.
Something you're living, yeah.
It's not like being a fucking vegan where you have to go to a gig with a patch on the back of your jacket that says vegan, like there was some dude at because even when it's too loud to speak, they can still tell you they're a fucking vegan.
Right.
So we had a big argument about it because you don't just throw books away. It's and she wouldn't read of it, and even family members, they see Church of Satan. Like I'll be walking around with one of your shirts on, John, and it's like, oh, what's that? I said, well, read it. You fucking, oh no, I don't want to read it. And I said, even to my wife, I said, if you look at the principles and tenets or the list of satanic sins, if you're not living your life like that anyway, then to all intents and purposes, you're a piece of shit because a lot of it makes. Do you know what I mean? It's I didn't put it quite like that to her.
We know what you mean, yeah.
But it's to me, it's common sense.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I really like about it is it's very merit based. It's personal achievement isn't something that should be hidden under a bushel. If you've done something and you've done it well, people are going to give you a pat on the back, and deservedly so. But anyway, I didn't think about joining the COS or anything like that. It was just a book I read and enjoyed. And it was probably only since sort of over the last few years been friends with David Ingram, and also being fans of certain podcasts and radio shows and stuff like that. One of the big ones for me was, do you remember Terror Transmissions that Matt Paradise did?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I fucking love that.
Yep.
Accusation Party, his one. I wish he'd do more of it, man, because that is just amazing what he does.
My favorite podcast.
Listening to that podcast has enabled me to win so many fucking arguments.
Yeah.
So everyone I was meeting that had any sort of links to it seemed like a really cool guy, like you guys. Seemed like really cool guys who you can have a laugh with, you can have fun with, and you and you get on with, and you're on the same page. And it doesn't matter about whether politics doesn't come into it. I like the whole third side thing. And if more people were like that, the world would probably be a better place. Yeah. So after sort of hanging out with Dave and saying, well, what do you think, mate? Do you think I should do it? What does it entail? I stuck my application in, and it actually came through on my birthday last year, which is so cool. I'd just come back the day before. I just come back from Denmark, where I was staying with Dave and doing like his radio show and stuff. Because I like to get out there a couple of times a year. And there's the pack waiting for me. And I thought, oh, fantastic! And I took ages before I opened it. And I was so chuffed. I was so happy.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's a really cool thing, and it's nice to be part of an organisation that does what it does. Really, the fucking Twitter feed itself is worth supporting. It's comedy gold.
Yeah,
It really is. I don't know who does it.
great.
I don't know who does it, but they deserve a medal.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's common sense, like you said earlier. I mean, come on.
It is common sense, and you can't argue with any of it. You really can't.
So you said earlier that you're, metal heads and metal fans and things like that you hang around with or know and things. They know that you're a Satanist. Does anyone in the force, the police force, know?
No, it's not something advertised. If people ask, then depending on who that person is and depending on what they're going to do with the information. Obviously, in my job, they could say, "Oh, you're in the Church of Satan." "Oh, yeah, I'm in the Church of Satan." And then the next thing you know, they're running around telling some governor that you sacrifice goats and burn babies or something like that because they're fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Because and not one of them's ever going to pick up the Bible and read what LaVey wrote.
It's too much work, right?
Yeah, that's
exactly
It's
too
asking
much
too
effort.
much.
They'd rather they see the word Satan, see the word church, and you might as well tell them you're a fucking Scientologist. These fucking idiots.
Crazy.
They make their own opinions and
Yeah.
and fucking.
Yeah. Crazy. Awesome. Well, let me ask you this. What does
Go ahead.
Satan mean to you?
Obviously, you asked this to all the guys.
I bet you ask all the boys.
You've had time to think of it.
I have, Dorian. You're quite right. But for me, it's responsibility, and that's one of the big things. One of the main things I love about it is because, especially in today's world where everyone's looking for someone else to blame for their own shortcomings, personal responsibility, being the person that you want to be. And that doesn't necessarily mean you've got to be an arrogant arsehole about it either. I think, you can still be, as I'm sure we all are, you can still be a caring, loving individual, but you're caring and loving to the people that fucking deserve it.
Yep.
And there's loads of people that come out and say, "Oh, Mark, you really bear a grudge and you never forget things when people slight you." Because especially in my job, in 25 years, you go through fucking the mill a few times, and there's plenty of backstabbers out there. But the whole Lex Talionis thing as well, I think, is very fucking apt, and I think more people should be like that, because if you look at something like, I don't know, the classic Christian Ten Commandments and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, like, some of them make perfect fucking sense. But if you look at, the tenets of the Church of Satan, it makes more sense. And I think if more people perhaps embraced it, then there'd be more happy people. But then maybe we don't want more people in it, because it's not for the many, is it?
Well, we don't want to ever be evangelical with it, so we don't want the
No,
world
fuck no. And that's one of the things Dave said.
Yeah. What the beauty about it, I think, is that those that find us,
Yeah.
and find themselves in the process. So I think it's
Yeah. And also, there's
that's the beauty.
no great happy clappy group that you can go and sit with and be alongside every other fucking hypocrite on a Sunday to make yourself feel better about the piece of shit things you've done during the week. If we can all be arseholes, and we can stand back and say, I was a bit of an arsehole there, but these are the reasons why. And you can either justify it or you can't.
You
So
had it coming.
Yeah.
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 I think the whole evangelizing of it, That's bullshit. And it doesn't. It promotes itself by the actions and the achievements of its members, if that makes sense. You know, John, you got your company, you've got Dave who does what he does, and you've got the guys doing the podcasts, and the stuff that the guys and girls are knocking out is great quality, and it would still be great quality if it was nothing to do with the Church of Satan.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
The stuff you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the recognition of your personal actions and not hiding your light under a bushel. Not, you know, if you've done something good, talk about it.
Yeah.
Promote yourself. That's not a fucking sin. You know?
Right. Pride.
So, yeah,
Pride.
exactly.
Yep. But deliver the goods,
Exactly.
definitely.
And indulgence.
Yeah.
Deliver the goods.
New Priest album, man. Have you got that?
I haven't heard it
No,
yet.
I haven't heard it
I've
yet
seen
either.
a few reviews.
I have not heard it either.
You gonna play it right now?
I have it. It's in my rack of vinyl that's down there. Really good. Get hold of it. Firepower,
Nice.
Judas Priest.
Nice.
Best thing they've done since Painkiller.
Oh shit!
Really? Nice.
Wow.
I was listening to Halford Live Insurrection the other day. That is a great live album.
Mate, that's mega. The Halford
Yeah.
albums were really good. How many did you do as Halford? Was it one or two plus the live one?
You're about to tell us.
Yeah.
Yep,
Oh,
yep.
I think it was one because I've got that and I've got. That's what you were listening to, man.
That's the best live album ever, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't so much like
What was the other band he had? He had a couple.
He had one
He
called
had
Fight.
two, and then
Fight,
he had
yeah.
Fight, yeah.
and he
that's
had
right.
two,
That's
which
the
was him
gun,
and
yeah.
Trent Reznor, wasn't it?
I knew the bass player
Yeah.
for Fight, Jay. I know him personally. Yeah,
Oh, cool.
he's here in Phoenix. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, wicked. Yeah, New Priest album's really good. I'm going to see them in. I'm actually. I think it's May or June sometime. I'm going out to Copenhagen to see Dave, and Priest happens to be playing with Megadeth. So that should be a good night.
I look forward to
Nice.
seeing pictures of that.
Oh yeah, there'll be probably loads of pictures of me and Dave drunk, but yeah, there'll be a few pictures.
Nice.
Few pictures. I'd love to meet Rob Alford as well. He's just such a fucking cool guy.
Yeah.
Get a hold of Robert Mosley. He knows everybody. Yeah. Yes.
I'll never forget when, like, however long ago it was that Rob Alford came out as gay.
Yeah.
That was
And
the
everyone was
80s,
like,
wasn't it?
no, seriously.
90s.
And I'm
Early
like,
90s.
Yeah, it was the 90s before he came out.
and yet
Makes
you look
sense.
back, and there's a guy running around with studded leather, everything, and a leather cap.
Yeah,
And if you ever look
like
at
the
the
Blue
video,
Oyster.
it's like pure Blue Oyster.
Blue
If you ever
Oyster
look at the
bar.
video for what was that track, Hot Rockin', where all the band are in the gym with their tops off and they're doing like all this, and then they're in a sauna, and it's like, how were people surprised?
Yeah,
at
it was
that?
there all along.
It
Yeah.
was, wasn't it?
Hiding in
Signs
plain
were
sight.
always there.
Hiding in plain
I'd
sight.
love to meet the guy
Yeah.
in a safe environment, obviously.
Don't let him bite you though, because
No, I don't want to be bitten.
Yeah.
I'll get the gay.
Yeah.
You'll catch the gay, yeah.
You'll catch the gay. Yeah. That's funny, man.
That's all.
Mark, it's been nice shooting the shit with you, man. You know,
Hell
letting
yeah.
me know. I mean,
Oh, yeah, dude.
thank you for
Oh,
coming
thanks.
on. Honestly.
No problem, guys. It's been a fucking
You
privilege.
know it's late there
Well-
too, so yeah.
It's early.
3 in the morning now.
Nice,
Shit.
nice. Make sure you look me up when you come to Phoenix, all right?
We'll do, dude. Yeah, wicked. And keep an eye on the post for that fake leg.
Yeah. That would be.
I'm not
that
even
would be-
fucking joking.
if you're not joking, dude, I would love that. I'll actually post it. It'd be fucking sweet. Oh my god.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
I'll drink a beer out of it after I wash it. All
If you
right.
smell it.
Till next time, everyone. Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.